Chapter 31 Flirting with the Senior Sister, Building a Position. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing Chen Changliu surrendering, Kumeng smiled even sweeter, which made Lin Hao, who was observing secretly not far away, even more angry. He hurriedly opened an account and left, and asked Supervisor Wang to check Chen Changliu's information. When Kumeng explained some precautions to Chen Changliu listened carefully and not only asked questions about some unclear points: open an account, bind a bank card, inquire about the leverage ratio of soybeans, etc. Although Kumeng has many questions to ask, such as why Chen Changliu asked about the leverage of soybean futures. Do you want to buy soybean futures? How much to buy and so on, but she still held back. After completing this, Kumeng was a little surprised when Chen Changliu took out his laptop from his backpack and asked Kumeng to help him download some necessary software. Laptops are not cheap nowadays. The one Chen Changliu owns looks new at first glance. The contrast between the mobile phone he uses and the clothes he wears and the laptop that costs tens of thousands of yuan is also too big. I can't believe that my junior came here well prepared. I even bought a laptop. It seems like it's really not just for fun. Hee. Senior sister, there is no preparation. Newbies always think there is only one way, but in fact there are 3 ways to go, as long as you have a good strategy. Kumeng was embarrassed and froze for a few seconds before rolling his eyes at Chen Changliu, who deliberately showed a lewd smile. He, as a junior, was really beyond his appearance. He was a little hooligan who could drive on such a broken road. Really, junior fellow student has a lot of theoretical knowledge, but I can see that you have never been there before. Hee, you have never driven a car and you still want to pretend to be an experienced driver. Chen Changliu stayed in Bengbu directly, and I went there. As expected, he was not comparable to Du Jiqiu. He knew he was driving as soon as he heard it, then he used the analogy of his relatively novice side during the account opening process to tease himself. He praised Kumeng's reaction ability. Hey, senior, how do you know that I have never driven a car? My hardware and software are definitely top-notch. Senior, do you want to give it a try? After all, Kumeng's internship period was still short. Although he had listened to a lot and gained a lot of thick skin, he was still not as good as Chen Changliu, nor could he compare with a woman who had been in the financial circle for a long time. Being treated like this 3 times by his junior after 2 naked teases, I still couldn't bear it, and my face felt slightly hot. Kumeng patted his arm angrily and said. Try you, I now realize that you are not a good person. I was so dizzy that I took the initiative to invite you to dinner. Oh, what a mistake, Chen Changliu said with a mean expression and tone. Senior sister, you have wronged me. You see, it was you who said you would try my head just now. In fact, it is not impossible to try, but I charge a fee and can give it to you. 20% off, hee. If the service is not good enough, you will get a full refund. After saying that, he had packed his things, picked up his backpack and ran away. Kumeng's gritted teeth shouted Chen Changliu from behind. At 9 o'clock in the evening, in the study, Chen Changliu had already opened the software. It was time for night trading, and he was watching the trend of Douyi. In fact, he doesn't know much about it, but from his research some time ago, he still knows a little about Douyi's trend. Before the epidemic, Douyi once reached a high of 2,800 points due to the impact of the USDA's agricultural supply and demand report, strikes in Brazil, and the outbreak of the war in Iraq. Affected by the epidemic, trading only started on May 12 and maintained an oscillation around 2,700 in the middle of the year. However, on May 28, the soybean market fell to the limit. In the following days, the contract price plummeted, falling by 200 points. At the lowest point, it had already dropped to 24.20. In June, futures prices slowly rebounded upward by more than 100 points in the first half of the month, and then fluctuated. However, on July 11, soybeans ushered in another Black Friday, falling 230 points as soon as the market opened, and the closing price was 24.28, making the entire soybean market. The futures market is full of people with long orders, and I don't know how many people directly liquidated their positions. It can be said that the D futures in early July were all about heartbeats and scared people to death. They were like a roller coaster. After a Black Friday, the market opened on Monday, July 14th, and rose by 220 points. In late July and the whole of August, the soybean futures market did not gain momentum. Now Chen Changliu saw that the opening price on August 28 was 2,499. At 9:30 p.m., the soybean price was 2,492, down 7 points. The amplitude was less than 10 points throughout the day. After determining the direction, it must be long. He successively went long and bought 60 lots near 24.92. The delivery period of the contracts he chose was not within the short term. After buying, he saw that the average price was 24.93. He has already transferred 170,000 yuan to his futures account. At the current price, one lot is 10 crypto, and based on the margin calculation of 10%, buying 60 lots requires a margin of about 150,000 yuan. After deducting the handling fee, he still has almost 20,000 yuan reserved in his account just in case, because school was about to start, and then there would be half a month of military training. He could not leave school, and he did not want to take his laptop to the dormitory, so he planned to ignore it after buying it, hold it until the military training was over, and then sell it to close the position. As many people on the internet say, futures positions should not be held overnight. Because the night trading of futures is more susceptible to the influence of the external market and a black swan event occurs, causing it to jump short, plummet, or rise sharply at the opening of the next day, this can cause investors to suffer huge losses, or even liquidate their positions. This is one of the important factors that prevent investors from holding positions overnight, but Chen Changliu was not afraid. In his previous life, he had seen the trend of soybean futures in 2003 as recalled by those people. From September to early October, soybean prices rose all the way. If the butterfly effect occurred, he could do nothing about it. He would die. After all, he only knew how to buy and sell now. He didn't know how to read other things like K-line charts. After finishing all these operations, he took a shower and went to bed. It was almost 11 o'clock, a little late, but he still called Du Jiqiu as usual. The phone was connected after only one ring, and then Du Jiqiu's clear and pleasant voice came. Chen Changliu, you finally called me. What time is it? If you don't call me, I will fall asleep. After the two confirmed their relationship, Du Jiqiu still called Chen Changliu by name, but the tone was different. It was not the kind of stiff and cold name, but with a little coquettish tone. Du Jiqiu on the other end of the phone sounded like she was complaining about Chen Changliu calling so late, but Chen Changliu could hear that she was not angry, but a little excited, and the phone was answered after only one ring, which only proved that the girl was waiting for his call. Chen Changliu was suddenly a little touched. It felt good to have someone care about him, especially a beautiful girl like a fairy. Chapter 32 Industrial Entrepreneurship Direction. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Changliu was a little touched by Du Jiqiu's concern for him, with a bright smile on his face, but he said in a mean tone. I was wrong, please punish Her Highness the Princess. I am willing to dedicate my body for Her Highness the Princess to enjoy. Chen Changliu's words caused Du Jiqiu to giggle, and while laughing, he scolded angrily, you bastard, a dog can't spit out ivory from its mouth. Who is the princess? Who wants your smelly body, huh? I don't know what I'm thinking about all day long, so sexy. Huh, all I've been thinking about all day is you. It seems Jiqiu also knows that she's sexy, hee hee. Humph, you are the gangster. By the way, what have you been doing today? Of course I'm going to find a part-time job in the future. I can't just sit around and get nothing, otherwise I won't have the money to marry our beautiful girl Jiqiu in the future. Who said I want to marry you? If you treat me badly in the future, I won't marry you. Du Jiqiu said coyly. Hearing Chen Changliu say that he would marry her in the future, he said that he was unwilling to do so, but Du Jiqiu, who was in the stage of passionate love, no matter how fairy she was lying on the bed wearing a dull V-neck pajamas. Her face was slightly red, but her smile was so sweet, the reddish face and fair neck, the career line that occasionally flashed across her chest when she turned over, And the fair and slender long legs were simply perfect. If Chen Changliu saw it, he would definitely say that the young Du Jiqiu was no less attractive than the mature Kumeng. My beauty Du, how could I not be nice to you? Do I dare? Your 9 white bone claws have been refined and transformed. I don't want my life. Even if I am not afraid of death, I am afraid of being broken by you. What are you saying? Wring your neck. Wait a minute. Ugh, Chen Changliu, you are so dirty, geez. Du Jiqiu didn't react until he was halfway through speaking. Hey, no matter if I'm dirty or not, I just want to pamper you anyway. Have you ever heard of such a saying? Two people should give each other something when they are together. Boys dote on girls, and girls love boys. Do you know what it means? Chen Changliu's words made Du Jiqiu curl his lips. How can you not know it's so simple? You want to pamper me and love me, and I want to be considerate of you. No, wrong. What's wrong? No. Du Jiqiu was really confused this time. The translated meaning should be, boys are responsible for pampering, girls are responsible for paying. Say the most important thing 3 times, girls are responsible for pampering, girls are responsible for paying. Chen Changliu said it 3 times and finally made Du Jiqiu understand that this guy was driving again. Du Jiqiu was so angry that he shouted, Chen Changliu. After chatting for a while, Du Jiqiu said excitedly. You know, my mother came back today, and when I put the money I earned in the past 2 months in front of her, you don't know how funny my mother's expression was at that time, ha ha ha. Chen Changliu could think of it all. She received 80,000 yuan, which was only for 2 months. Even though Du Jiqiu's family was not short of money, as a high school graduate, it was enough to surprise her mother to earn so much money during the summer vacation. Later, after I told you what happened in the past 2 months, my mother also said that she would treat you to dinner next time. She said that you are very capable and wanted to meet you in person. Do you want to meet my mother? But when her mother praised Chen Changliu, her tone was filled with pride. Of course I do. I want to see what kind of mother gave birth to such a beautiful little fairy and then took advantage of me. Hee, but does your mother know about our relationship? Chen Changliu's words made Du Jiqiu hesitate and say, No. No. No, my mother advised me not to fall in love so early. Chen Changliu only thought it was funny and thought this little girl was innocent. He was afraid that he would be angry, so he pretended to let out a long sigh. I thought she knew it, and was worried that my future mother-in-law would come to settle the score with me. Don't worry, we'll tell her when the time is right. Du Jiqiu also breathed a long sigh of relief and hummed sweetly. By the way, how much money does your mother have left for you? Is it enough to spend? Hee, my mother didn't ask for it. She kept it all for me. My current laptop is not very easy to use. If I go to Yangcheng, why don't you accompany me to buy a computer? The 2 of them chatted until almost 12 o'clock. They saw that the battery of the mobile phone was almost running out before plugging in the charger. However, he looked thoughtfully at the spare battery. Chen Changliu got up at 7 o'clock the next morning. After brushing his teeth and washing his face, he went for a morning jog. This was a habit he developed after his rebirth, because he knew that only a healthy body could support him and make sense. After 5 kilometers, I had enough exercise. On the way back, I found a breakfast shop that sold fried dough sticks. I ordered 2 fried dough sticks and a bowl of soy milk. The boss helped cut the dough sticks into small pieces. Chen Changliu soaked them in the soy milk, soaked them until soft and took a sip. As you chew, the fried dough sticks become sweet but not greasy. The more you chew, the sweeter the dough sticks become. It's a perfect breakfast. It was already past 9 o'clock when he got home. He was not in a hurry to see the futures market. Instead, he took a shower and then went to the study refreshed. Open the software to check the bean market. The opening price is 2,505, which is 12 points higher than last night's closing price of 2,493. It just fell after the opening, and then it kept fluctuating around 2,500 points. I made a profit of almost 5,000 yuan. No wonder so many people like to speculate in futures. Well, do you want to sell it? Chen Changliu said to himself, but after thinking about it, he decided not to make a few thousand yuan. Frequent transactions would only pay the handling fee. After deciding not to take care of the futures account for the time being, Chen Changliu changed his clothes and went out directly. His goal today was Fanyu district in Yangcheng, where there were a large number of large and small electronic factories. That was the place he chose to start his own business. The futures market was not his choice for starting a business. He only remembered it when he saw the news, and then planned to go in and make a fortune to accumulate more original capital. Even without the futures market as a way to quickly accumulate capital, he could start his own business with the 200,000 yuan he earned during the summer vacation, because the industry he wanted to enter was MP3, and 130 kilometers southeast of Yangcheng. The Mei clan, the leader of the domestic MP3 brand in the previous life, had been established by a craftsman with 100,000 yuan as the startup capital, and launched its first product in June, which was very popular. Chapter 33 Market Trends, Hiring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Since entering China in 2000, MP3 has become a popular trend. Many young people are proud to have an MP3 hanging around their necks, so they can listen to the songs they want anytime and anywhere. Chen Changliu once did a survey. There are at least 60 domestic MP3 brands, big and small, but Samsung, iRiver, Patriot, and iPod are still mainstream brands. 128 MB MP3 with recording and FM functions. These brands are priced at 1,500 to 2,000 yuan, which can be said to make more than half of the money with tears and blood. Meizu's first product is priced at 1,250 yuan for 128M, which is cheaper than the market price, and the simpler appearance and operation method directly became a hit. This is also the reason why Meizu can make a lot of money even if the price is one-third cheaper. Why did Chen Changliu enter this industry? The first reason is that it is popular now, the market is far from saturated, and the profit is high. Even if the Mei clan has already walked ahead, he can still surpass them with a more avant-garde product manager's vision. After all, with more than 10 years of memory and understanding of the popular trends of the future, he can still be half a step faster than others, and being half a step faster will not cause any trouble. Anyway, everyone is a product integrator, so there is no problem of technical crushing. Another reason is that the capital threshold is low and the technical threshold is not high. Chen Changliu remembered that the threshold for entering the MP3 manufacturing industry in China was extremely low. You just need to rent a factory building temporarily, hire a few apprentices, and purchase some cheap raw materials from second- and third-rate manufacturers, and you can start working. Although the workmanship of the products of this small factory is a bit rough, there is not much difference in appearance and style. 400,000 yuan to build an MP3 factory with a daily output of 1,000 units, the rent of the factory building is 6,000 yuan per month, the procurement cost is 220,000 yuan, the labor cost is 60,000 yuan, plus 80,000 to 100,000 yuan of working capital, and a factory can start working. Small MP3 manufacturers basically do not need to master any core technology. It is called a factory, but it is actually a simple assembly plant. The internal structure of MP3 is very simple, mainly internal integrated circuit plus shell plus design, etc. The integrated circuit is the control chip and flash memory chip, etc. The circuit design, nano glass sheet manufacturing, mold design and manufacturing, circuit board manufacturing and other work in the main manufacturing process are basically handed over to professional factories or companies to complete. These small factories are responsible for assembling these parts into shape, and finally equipped with some peripheral equipment, such as headphones, batteries, etc., and can be shipped after packaging. So this is why Mr. Huang of the Meizu can produce MP3 with 100,000 yuan. Most of the manufacturers currently engaged in MP3 manufacturing have previously engaged in the production of electronic products, such as companies that used to produce BP machines, radios, keyboards and mice. These companies are more familiar with the production characteristics, upstream supply chains and sales channels of the electronics industry. In fact, a large number of small BP machine manufacturers have turned to MP3 manufacturing. There are now at least 200 factories engaged in MP3 production in the country, and as many as 400 Domestic MP3 factories are mostly concentrated in Yangcheng, Guangcheng, Pengcheng and other places. And Yangcheng Fanyu is the place where these MP3 upstream and downstream industries are most concentrated. Chen Changliu's current goal is to find a manufacturer of BP machines, mice, etc. that need to be transferred, which can enable him to carry out production activities better, such as confidentiality, control of product quality, etc., which is also closely related to his subsequent plans. Of course, if he really can't find a suitable one, the worst thing is to hand over all the work to other companies for OEM. After running around all day, Chen Changliu felt that he thought too simply. This way of looking for it is not only time-consuming and laborious, but also has no effect at all. It seems that the team should be formed quickly, including relevant technical personnel, especially in the field of industrial design. Although he has a vision beyond this era, this is only the appearance. There must be relevant technical personnel inside. However, what comforted him when he came back at night was that the closing price of soybeans on that day was 2,497, which means that the one he bought rose by 4 points, and he also made a profit of 2,400 yuan. The futures market was closed for the next 2 days on weekends, and Chen Changliu did not run around again. He found a headhunting company and asked the headhunter to help him find a talent who understands technology and has relevant management work experience. Chen Changliu himself is not a professional talent. He can be a product manager or product director at most. For such technical things, there must be professionals. Moreover, time is very important to him now. Only such talents can improve efficiency and make MP3 products as soon as possible. Starting from the second half of next year, the MP3 industry will enter a more brutal price war, and his own brand must build a good reputation during this period. In the second half of next year, as more and more people enter the market, the production process becomes more and more mature, and the cost begins to decline. A fierce price war will begin, especially for some small domestic brands, and even some copycat machines, which can also be said to be counterfeit and shoddy products. The price of MP3 will drop from more than 1,000 yuan now to 400 or 500 yuan. If he fails to build his brand reputation before this, he can only drink some soup at that time, which will have a great impact on his subsequent plans. After handing over the recruitment to the headhunter, he began to write and draw, drawing the appearance of some products in his previous life. But his painting skills are very average, and he can't use the drawing software, so he can only come again and again. Jiqiu, Li Ping and Feng Qian got into Ning Mei's car and headed for Yangcheng. Du Jiqiu sat in the passenger seat, looking ahead. She seemed to see Chen Changliu waving at her in front, and a smile appeared on her face unconsciously. Ning Mei saw this scene, and she could only be speechless. Since she came back to pick up this little ancestor 2 days ago, she found that her baby daughter was abnormal. Not only did she make 80,000 yuan with 1,000 yuan during the summer vacation, but she seemed to have been abducted. She was an experienced person and knew that her daughter was in love, but she couldn't get anything out of it no matter how she asked indirect questions. She could only guess that it was the student who took her to make money. She has now become interested in the student who abducted her daughter. Not only can he make money, but he also captured her seemingly gentle but actually very proud daughter. She really wants to meet him. P.S. The typos will be corrected later. Chapter 34, School Opening. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On September 1st, students and parents were constantly at the gate of Lingnan University of Finance and Economics. The registration time for freshmen of the University of Finance and Economics has ended today. Chen Changliu remembered that several people in his dormitory had only registered today, which was also strange. Looking at the familiar gate, Chen Changliu was very emotional. He had stayed here for 4 years in his previous life. There were bitterness, tears and laughter. Maybe this is life. Here he made friends with 2 good brothers in the dormitory, and they also stayed in Yangcheng after graduation. Are you all right? Also here, his first love girlfriend in his previous life kicked him out before graduation and got into someone else's BMW. She even shamelessly said that you are very strong and can give me physical satisfaction. Although I like you, you can't give me the material life I want, but we can still be friends after breaking up. When talking about the word friend, he emphasized his tone. After that, he often sent text messages to himself, wanting to invite himself out for dinner, but was rejected by the sad Chen Changliu. At that time, he couldn't figure it out. He had a stable relationship with himself and the intensity was full for her. Why did he run away? He was sad for a year because of this. After entering the society, he realized that having no money was the original sin. Later, when Chen Changliu was down and out, every time he thought of the hint of his ex-girlfriend, he would sometimes scold himself for being stupid. I heard that this woman later became the mistress of the BMW owner and made a lot of money. As for himself, it was obvious that he didn't take advantage of the opportunity. No matter how ugly he was, he could still be a gigolo, which was better than almost sleeping on the street. How much is backbone worth? When you can't live happily, backbone is shit, but this life is different. I can still have some backbone. After all, I have the capital. Huh, ex-girlfriend, are you okay? Are you still greedy for my body in this life? Thinking of this, the image of his first love ex-girlfriend, which was originally very vague in his mind, became clearer. Although she was not as beautiful as Du Jiqiu and Kumeng, she was still the beauty of the school. Chen Changliu definitely didn't love this ex-girlfriend, but he must still have resentment in his heart. Revenge on her? Maybe, but he hasn't figured out how to face it yet. Classmate, are you a freshman? What's your major? A man's voice interrupted Chen Changliu's sigh. Chen Changliu looked up at the man who was half a head shorter than him, and slowly adjusted his mood. He couldn't help but sighed and said, "Senior, is there no one in the school?" Chen Changliu's reaction and tone made student A stunned for a moment. What was he talking about? Junior? Why do you say that? Senior, everyone says that there are so many beautiful girls in our University of Finance and Economics, but why did I meet a senior? I also want to communicate with the beautiful senior sister. Hey, do you think it's appropriate for two grown men like us to communicate with each other? Even if you are gay, I am a straight man. I don't have this hobby. Student A rolled his eyes at Chen Changliu in anger and said speechlessly. You are the gay one, boy, you are the one who talks too much nonsense. I am not satisfied even if you are not satisfied. I originally wanted to meet a beautiful junior sister, but who knew I would meet you? Hee, senior brother, how about we separate now? You wait for your beautiful junior sister, and I wait for my gentle and beautiful senior sister. How about it? Student A showed a wretched smile and nodded repeatedly. This is a good idea, that's it. After the two separated tacitly, Chen Changliu did not really wait for the gentle and beautiful senior sister to lead the way, but went through the registration process alone. After all, he had gone through it in his previous life. It went very smoothly. An hour later, Chen Changliu had completed all the formalities. After receiving the bedding, he went directly to his dormitory. It was already 11:30 at this time. Chen Changliu's dormitory was in 311, Building 6. The door was open and there were already people inside. The dormitory was for 6 people, and it was the old-fashioned upper bunk bed, which was much worse than the new-style upper bunk bed, computer desk and cabinet. There were 2 desks in the corner, just for them to learn. This was also the reason why Chen Changliu didn't bring the computer. It was inconvenient. The dormitory had a balcony, and the toilet and shower room were integrated, also outside the balcony. This was the only thing that satisfied Chen Changliu in the dormitory. Chen Changliu knocked on the door and walked in. The person sitting on the lower bunk of the first bed at the door saw Chen Changliu and stood up quickly. He was about 1.75 meters tall and strong, and his figure was similar to Pang Wei. This was the dormitory boss Li Liang, a local, outgoing, generous and loyal, a landlord, and also Chen Changliu's better friend in the dormitory in his previous life. Li Liang saw Chen Changliu coming in, and he stood up, looking at Chen Changliu, and introduced himself in non-standard Mandarin. Hello, my name is Li Liang, a local, my friend. What's your name? You are so tall, you must be good at basketball. Let's play basketball together when we have time. Seeing Li Liang, Chen Changliu smiled. This guy helped him when he almost slept on the street in his previous life. Hello, my name is Chen Changliu, from Guangnan next door. Let's play basketball together when we have time. With your body, you can do the same as Barkley, just arch your butt, and then you can break through. it will definitely work. Chen Changliu's words directly brought him and Li Liang closer, because this guy's idol is Barkley, and he always said that he and Barkley have one thing in common, that is, a big butt. Hey, you still know the stuff, but brother, you are from Guangnan City, so you are my old cousin. Why are your winter talk so standard? Logically speaking, your winter talk should be the same as mine, right? Hey, there's no comparison. It's like we are both men, but haven't you noticed that I'm more handsome and taller than you? I'll go, Chen Changliu, you are so narcissistic. At this time, another person in the dormitory came over. It was Fang Jinglin, the sixth man in the dormitory. Hello, fellow countrymen, my name is Fang Jinglin, I come from Jiangzhou County, Guangnan. Sure enough, just like in his previous life, the first roommates he met were Li Liang, the boss of the dormitory, and Fang Jinglin, the sixth boss of the dormitory, with whom he later had the best relationship. When the two saw Chen Changliu alone, they asked curiously, "Are you alone? Didn't your parents come with you?" "What a big deal, you're already an adult, why do you need parents to follow you?" "That's what I said, but just like my mother, if she insists on following me, I can't stop her. No, after being sent away for a while, I can finally be liberated, While the three of them were chatting, Chen Changliu was making up his bed. His bed had already been posted there, the upper bunk of the middle bed. After Chen Changliu finished packing, Li Liang said, "Let's go have lunch. I'll treat you. I just want to try out the food in the school canteen. Let's get together in the evening when everyone is gathered outside our district. In the next 4 years, we will be the 6 brothers. Live together." Chen Changliu had no objection. Fang Jinglin and Yi Jing quickly waved their hands and said, "This won't work. How can I let you spend money? Or..." Before he finished speaking, Chen Changliu immediately interrupted, "There's nothing wrong with it. Look at Lao Li's body type, he definitely belongs to the landlord class, otherwise he wouldn't be able to survive. We just happen to be fighting against the rich, hee. We'll just invite him back next time." Chen Changliu interrupted Fang Jinglin's words. The last sentence was addressed to Fang Jinglin, who was a little embarrassed, and he nodded at the other party. "Anyway, everyone is happy." Both Li Liang and Fang Jinglin have a good sensory impression of Chen Changliu. Chapter 35, Meet the Fairy Senior again, shocking everyone. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When the three of them arrived at the school cafeteria, it was crowded. They got their food and sat down. The three of them chatted while eating. Li Liang's eyes were basically not enough, just like GPS, only locating girls. TSK, the University of Finance and Economics produces beauties. The internet really didn't lie to me. I came to the right place. Listening to Li Liang's sigh, Chen Changliu was speechless. "Old Li, it seems that you came to the University of Finance and Economics just for beauties. You are really coquettish. Your estrus period has arrived." "Hee, buddy, I am in a window period now. The girls in college are not comparable to those in high school. TSK, look at that one over there, she is very fierce. Damn, the waves are big enough that clothes can't cover it." Chen Changliu and Fang Jinglin hurriedly looked over. The girl was indeed fierce, but when he saw that face, Chen Changliu had no desire to continue watching. There was no way. He had seen Du Jiqiu's appearance too much. Now seeing this kind of thing is simply a disaster. However, Li Liang and Fang Jinglin were watching with relish. Chen Changliu suddenly thought of Du Jiqiu. He wondered how the little girl was doing now and whether she could get along with her roommates. Then he thought of the futures he bought. Today was Monday. He wondered if it had risen. He suddenly missed the era of smartphones, where one could check and buy and sell with just one phone. Suddenly, Chen Changliu found that the canteen, which was noisy just now, suddenly became much quieter. Everyone spoke in a much lower voice, and everyone's eyes were looking in the direction with their backs to him. "Oh my God, goddess, more beautiful than a star, I've decided, this is my goddess in college." Li Liang suddenly whispered excitedly, which aroused Chen Changliu's interest. He turned around and looked in the direction of everyone's eyes. Finally, he saw who everyone in the canteen was looking at, Kumeng. It was Kumeng. Wasn't she doing an internship? Why did she come? Even if she came to report to the school, didn't she just go through the process? A white t-shirt with 7-point jeans and white sneakers, with a curvy figure that makes every man drool, and a woman feel inferior. With that charming and beautiful face, damn, a fairy is a fairy, and she looks good in any outfit. Kumeng originally wanted to leave after reporting, but suddenly she thought of the junior who flirted with her and ran away in the company 2 days ago, and she felt unhappy. Humph, little pervert. Seeing that it was just time for dinner, she suddenly wanted to go to the cafeteria. Kumeng is now unhappy plus interested in this junior who flirted with her. What makes her unhappy is that she and Chen Changliu actually have each other's phone numbers, but in the past few days, this little pervert has never called or sent a text message to such a beautiful woman like her, which sometimes makes her doubt her charm, but when facing her, he is not restrained, and dares to flirt with her in return. She can also see the kind of amazing and possessive eyes that a man should have in his eyes. These two contrasts make her very unhappy. Another thing was that when the settlement was made on the evening of the 29th, she curiously checked Chen Changliu's position. Then she found that this guy actually bought 60 lots of long soybeans and made a profit of more than 2,000 yuan. What made her speechless was that this little pervert had held the position for 2 consecutive days and had not sold it. Didn't he know that this was dangerous? As his senior, it was necessary to remind him, but Kumeng didn't want to take the initiative to call this little pervert. She, Kumeng, was the school belle of the University of Finance and Economics, and she also had her own pride. After entering the cafeteria, Kumeng became the focus of everyone. She had long been accustomed to it. She looked around, but because someone blocked her and Chen Changliu had his back to her, she didn't notice him at the first time. When she was about to get food, Chen Changliu turned his head and looked over, then their eyes met. The moment Kumeng saw Chen Changliu, she suddenly laughed and walked straight to Chen Changliu's table. Kumeng's smile was stunning in the eyes of others, and in Chen Changliu's eyes, but he also saw something different, which must be malicious. Chen Changliu's heart immediately sounded an alarm, and he turned his head quickly, hoping that his guess was wrong. It was just a drive, and he didn't lose a piece of meat. Li Liang, who was sitting opposite him, smiled and whispered to Chen Changliu, "This woman is so beautiful, she is walking over here, should I go up and chat with her?" Chen Changliu pouted, "If you want to go up, maybe a miracle will happen and she will fall in love with you." "Bah, what do you mean by a miracle? Am I bad?" "Then go up, I support you." Chen Changliu's words made Li Liang embarrassed. It's okay to talk big, but if you really want him to take actual action, he really doesn't dare. He doesn't look handsome, and everyone knows himself. Heh. Heh. Forget it, I'm not ready to lose my single status. Li Liang's cowardly look made Chen Changliu and Fang Jinglin burst out laughing. Kumeng came to Chen Changliu's table and stopped. Under the gaze of Li Liang, Fang Jinglin and everyone who was paying attention to this place, she sat directly on the empty seat next to Chen Changliu. Then she turned sideways and said to Chen Changliu, "Junior brother, can you treat me to a meal?" Li Liang, Fang Jinglin and everyone who could hear Kumeng's words were all stunned. Such a goddess actually took the initiative to let a male classmate treat her to a meal. Did she like him? Everyone looked at Chen Changliu, and then they realized that he was a handsome guy, and then everyone was speechless. Could it be that being handsome can make a goddess chase him? No matter what others think, Chen Changliu is speechless. Junior is junior, but he has to add a little one, "Hey." Shrugging and saying, "College sister, I don't have money. This meal is all paid by my classmates. Besides, I'm really not small." Looking at Chen Changliu who was protesting, Kumeng laughed directly, and the people around him, including Li Liang and the others, were directly numb. What's going on? Is this guy crazy? He actually rejected the active goddess. Li Liang responded and quickly winked at Chen Changliu, "Brother, you are not hungry but I am hungry. If you don't want this opportunity, you can give it to your brother." He said. "My classmate, my brother is just joking with you. It's just a meal. Wait, I'll get it for you. Kumeng smiled at Li Liang. Thank you, classmate. I don't have any dietary restrictions. Li Liang, who was mesmerized by Kumeng's smile, went to get his meal. Warm tips. If you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to let us know. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. Chapter 36. Of course I'm going to the woods with my senior sister. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Junior brother, what, you hate senior sister? Kumeng supported the table with one hand, held his chin, and looked at Chen Changliu with a half-smile. This action and expression made Chen Changliu's eyes reveal a surprised expression. There's nothing I can do about it. Kumeng's expressions and movements make her originally charming look a little more naughty, making people unable to help but fall for her. Fang Jinglin didn't dare to look at it. He lowered his head and ate his rice silently. Chen Changliu almost raised his flag. Mada was indeed a goblin. It seemed that his young body had been protesting that he was hungry. He suddenly whispered in a mean voice, "Senior, I'm really not young. If you don't believe me, you can try it and I'll give you a discount." Fang Jinglin, a novice, didn't understand and was still wondering what it meant, but Kumeng had already slapped him on the arm. "Chen Changliu, you little pervert, look for a beating." At this moment, Fang Jinglin finally heard that the two of them knew each other, and then looked at Li Liang, who was making rice with pity in his eyes. "Who told you to always say that I am young? Well, I will have the opportunity to let you know what it means to be a beast among men. TCH, you're dreaming. By the way, it's a big no-no for you to hold your position overnight. Remember to sell and clear your position before the market closes tonight." Hearing Kumeng's words, he didn't take it seriously. "Senior, it's okay, I know it well. What the heck, you're a newbie. If it weren't for this, I wouldn't bother to come to you." Chen Changliu was quite grateful to hear that Kumeng came to him specifically for this matter. "Senior sister, don't you have my phone number? Just call me." Kumeng suddenly didn't know what to say. "Do you want her to say that as a beautiful woman, I don't want to lose face if she takes the initiative to call you?" But at this time Li Liang came back and started to be courteous like a doglegger. "Beauty, it's yours. You see if it fits. If not, I'll change it." "Thank you, please call me senior sister Kumeng. I am from the finance department at level 00. Seeing the goddess taking the initiative to announce his name, the smile on Li Liang's face became even brighter and he became more excited. Chen Changliu and Fang Jinglin knew that this guy was definitely in heat. Fang Jinglin said quietly, "Old Li, senior sister Kumeng and brother Chen have known each other for a long time." Fang Jinglin's words directly chilled Li Liang's passionate heart. Recalling the conversation and expressions between the two just now, it felt a bit like a young couple having a quarrel. Li Liang almost wanted to cry, "I'm just a clown," but he has a carefree personality and recovered quickly. "Well, Chen Changliu, when did you hook up with senior sister Kumeng? The young couple had a quarrel and you asked me to make a fool of yourself. Tell me, how can you make up for my young mind?" Li Liang's words stunned both Kumeng and Chen Changliu. "When did we become a young couple? Is there anything that seems to be causing trouble?" They didn't think so, but Li Liang's words made Fang Jinglin suddenly feel that their conversation from beginning to end was really like an awkward couple. "You little pervert, you have my phone number, just call me," etc. "It looks like Kumeng is chasing after you." Fang Jinglin looked at Chen Changliu with eyes full of admiration and envy. Chen Changliu covered his forehead with his hands and said helplessly, "Old Li, don't talk nonsense. I have nothing to do with senior Kumeng. I have a girlfriend." Kumeng, who originally wanted to explain, became inexplicably annoyed when she heard Chen Changliu's words. This felt a bit like being rejected by others. This was unacceptable to her who had always been a boy's dream lover since she was a child. She pouted angrily and looked at Chen Changliu without saying a word, but sometimes not speaking can be more lethal than speaking. "Old Chen, I have to talk about you. You have a girlfriend as beautiful as senior Kumeng, but you are still angry with her before you can spoil her. Man, be more generous." Chen Changliu suddenly found that many people were staring at him, with a hint of hostility in their eyes. I was provoking someone, and no one believed my explanation. He suddenly grabbed Kumeng's weak and boneless hand and said at the same time, loudly, "We won't eat anymore. We have some things to solve, let's go." When Kumeng was grabbed by Chen Changliu's hand, she was suddenly stunned. This was the first time since she was a child that a man other than her father held her little hand. This nature was different from the way he held Changliu's hand 2 days ago. Not the same. Kumeng, who was thinking wildly, was pulled out of the dining hall by Chen Changliu. There were also surprised looks from outside, but there were far fewer looks than in the dining hall. In the dining hall, after Chen Changliu took Kumeng away, everyone started whispering. People who knew that Kumeng was the school beauty kept sighing. Li Liang and Fang Jinglin also looked at each other, and they finally knew who Kumeng was from the comments of people around them. "Let me go, is this boy Chen Changliu so powerful? He stole the school bell just after school started. Comrade Xiaofeng, we must reach an alliance. When Chen Changliu returns to the dormitory later, he must be interrogated by the 3 departments and let him give an honest account. Humph, he actually showed off his affection in front of us and made me look embarrassed." Fang Jinglin thought of Li Liang's behavior before and after, and spit out the rice. After Chen Changliu pulled Kumeng out of the dining hall, he walked directly to a corner of the campus. Not long after, he saw a small forest. This is the love sanctuary of the University of Finance and Economics. Many lovers come here to go to the small forest. Along the way, Chen Changliu didn't know whether she forgot or something, but didn't let go of Kumeng's little hand. Kumeng didn't struggle, but when she saw the grove, her face suddenly turned red and she broke away from Chen Changliu's hand. "Little brother, why did you bring me here?" Chen Changliu laughed and said, "Senior, what else do you think we can do here? Of course we are going to go into the woods with our senior." Kumeng took 2 steps back, carefully guarding Chen Changliu. "Bah, who is going to go into the woods with you? You think so?" Seeing Kumeng's little move, Chen Changliu was happy. "He thought you were not afraid of anything." He crossed his arms and joked. "Hey, when I said you were not my girlfriend just now, you didn't even try to explain. You looked at me like I was wronged, which made everyone think I had done something to you. Why, are you afraid now?" "What, I'm just still angry because you teased me. It's not that you admit that you are my boyfriend. It's just that they think too much and it's none of my business. Now that I've said it, I'm afraid that you, a little brat, who doesn't even have all his hair, wants to imitate others and crawl into the woods. You're just a little pervert." Of course Kumeng would not admit defeat, he said harshly. "Oh, really? How do you know that my hair is not all hairy? Come on, let's go into the woods. I will verify for you whether I have hair or not, and at the same time verify whether I am a beast among men." As Chen Changliu spoke, he pulled Kumeng's little hand. Kumeng was so scared that Kumeng stepped back and said, "What do you want to do?" "Halo, it's so simple, of course I want to verify it." "Senior sister, why are you blushing? It's not like you haven't seen it before." "Senior sister, why are you running?" Looking at Kumeng who ran away in a hurry and the voice of the little pervert who had not left behind, Chen Changliu smiled. It seemed that this charming school beauty was far less open than her appearance and when chatting with him. She might still be a girl, then why was it said that she was kept by someone else in her previous life? Wait, it seems that this rumor only came to me during the 2nd semester of my freshman year. It turns out that this is the case. I don't know who spread it. Chapter 37 Can Students Pursue Counselors? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Changliu did not go back to the canteen, but left the school gate to find a place to eat more. He didn't eat much just now, when Chen Changliu and Kumeng were still in the canteen. Lin Hao, who had just signed up, received a call. His face quickly turned livid, and he went directly to the canteen with 2 losers from the school, because someone called him and said that Kumeng took the initiative to find a man in the dining hall, and it seemed that the relationship was still very close. This made Lin Hao, who had always regarded Kumeng as his woman, intolerable. He had already made it clear in school that no man was allowed to approach Kumeng. At first there were still people who refused to accept it, and then they were beaten for no apparent reason outside the school. Gradually no man dared to approach him, but now someone dared to show up, and more importantly, Kumeng came to him on his own, which gave him a sense of crisis. He must nip this kind of thing in the cradle. When he rushed to the canteen angrily, not only Chen Changliu and Kumeng had already gone to the grove, but Li Liang and Fang Jinglin had also left the canteen and rushed to the empty space. The man who called him just now, if someone has something to do, he won't be in the dining hall. Although Lin Hao is arrogant enough, he really doesn't dare to mess around in the school. He is not like the rich second generation in some novels who smash the table arrogantly or grab the collar of any student with great power and ask him to say Chen Changliu. And Kumeng's whereabouts, Lin Hao left angrily, but he still asked his subordinates to find out who was sitting at the same table with Kumeng just now. After eating, Chen Changliu walked around the campus. It was already 2 p.m. when he returned to the dormitory. As soon as he entered the dormitory, Chen Changliu found that everyone had already arrived. Li Liang and Fang Jinglin did not publicize what happened in the canteen. After all, they were not very familiar with each other and could not tell everything. After self-introduction, everyone was in Class 2 of Business Administration. To be honest, this major of Business Administration is the most embarrassing major. The Business Administration major is an all-round major, commonly known as a hodgepodge. The curriculum of the Business Administration major is to learn everything and be able to do everything. The study content covers accounting, management, marketing, finance and human resources, covering a wide range of topics. Therefore, it is not polite to say that the Business Administration major is a flashy major. Another reason why it is embarrassing is that the job search stage after graduation is really embarrassing, because no one will find an undergraduate to run their own business, but there are also good ones, which you can use if you start your own business or have a family business. Moreover, this major has a wide range of employment opportunities, because there are many professional courses to study. Whether it is finance, marketing or human resources, you can get involved in recruitment in any field. There are more opportunities, but the starting salary is relatively low. However, after working for 5 to 10 years and gaining some experience, continuing to study for a Master of Business Administration, MBA, will make you even more powerful and become a real management talent, and it will definitely be a high-paying group of people. Therefore, the upward cycle of this profession is very long, and it takes at least 10 years to really make a difference. After getting acquainted, everyone ranked the eldest brother Li Liang, the second child Guo Fanwei, the third child Chen Changliu, the fourth child Zhao Wuyan, the fifth child Su Lianyu, and the sixth child Fang Jinglin according to their age. It's just that the relationship between everyone is average now, and I don't know how the relationship will be in the future. There won't be many people who really talk about boss, Lao, second, etc. Of course, it is more common to call them by their first names, and call them whatever feels comfortable. After Chen Changliu's observation, everyone is still the same as in the previous life, with no change. Li Liang talks about loyalty, is rough and careless, and looks careless, but he is actually a thoughtful person. For example, he did not tell what happened in the canteen, which proves this. Guo Fanwei is also a local, relatively arrogant, and likes to show off that he is rich. During the chat, he often shows off how much he paid for his new mobile phone, clothes, and shoes. Zhao Wuyan is the most handsome person in the dormitory besides Chen Changliu. He is from Guangcheng. He is a bit of a narcissistic slut, and he shakes his middle part at every turn. Su Lianyu, a native of southern Hunan, is a fat little guy who likes to play games. He seems to be quite cheerful and not very scheming. Fang Jinglin, a fellow countryman, is a bit introverted, but very optimistic. How can I put it? Although everyone has different personalities, the feeling of finally being freed from the heavy studies and the constraints of their parents makes it not awkward for everyone to chat with each other. Among them, Chen Changliu is the least talkative, and he never takes the initiative to start a topic. All while occasionally chatting with others, except for Li Liang and Fang Jinglin, everyone else thinks that he is a very low-key person. Apart from being handsome, there seems to be nothing special about him, but he also has a sense of presence and always likes to chat with him because he is always quiet. Listen and respond to them appropriately. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, there was a knock on the door of the dormitory. Li Liang, who was only wearing sports shorts, got up and opened the door. He saw a beautiful woman wearing glasses standing at the door. He was a little embarrassed. He took the clothes and put them on and asked, "Classmate, who are you looking for? How did you get into the boys' dormitory?" Everyone in the dormitory looked over, and then they were in a panic, because everyone was shirtless, but fortunately no one was only wearing underwear. Chen Changliu also saw the person coming. He knew her identity, but he said nothing. The bespectacled beauty smiled slightly and said, "I'm looking for you guys to see if you've got your clothes on. My name is Wu Ling, your counselor. I'm here to get to know you all." Zhao Wuyan, who originally saw the beautiful woman, was about to go up and strike up a conversation, but when he heard that it was a counselor, he silently moved back halfway. The others were stunned for a moment before they reacted, and then they were a little excited. After all, who doesn't like their counselor to be a young beauty? Only a ghost likes a grown man. After introducing herself, Wu Ling also checked the names on the list in her hand one by one. After chatting for a few more words, Wu Ling said, "There will be a class meeting in classroom 301 at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Those who are interested in class cadres can participate in the election. This is a training for your college life and will help you to enter the student union in the future. It will only benefit you and not harm you when you enter the society in the future." After Wu Ling left, everyone discussed Wu Ling again. Zhao Wuyan had a lot of ideas about Counselor Wu Ling. He narcissistically lifted his hair and said, "Do you think students can pursue counselors?" That the others looked at him as if he was a monster. Even Chen Changliu couldn't hold it. It seemed that Zhao Wuyan often contributed to Wu Ling's diligence in his previous life, but he had never heard him say such a thing. "Old Zhao, you are awesome. You feel this?" Chen Changliu gave Zhao Wuyan a thumbs up. Chapter 38. Where there are people, there is a world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. "Old Zhao, you should go to bed. I guess the counselor doesn't like young boys. You can't stand it." Chen Changliu's faint words made everyone in the dormitory stun for a moment, and then they all burst into laughter. The reason for the laughter was that Chen Changliu, the bastard, made a double-edged joke. When everyone was shirtless just now, Zhao Wuyan's figure was the most shriveled. He really had no muscles at all, which was really the opposite of Chen Changliu's six-pack abs. The other is that men always tease each other as little Jijiji. "Old Chen, I'm not done with you. Humph, I'll start working out tomorrow." In the evening, Chen Changliu and his dormitory had a meal at a small restaurant outside the school. After ordering the dishes, a bottle of beer was served. After each person drank a large glass of iced beer, the summer heat seemed to dissipate. Halfway through the meal, Li Liang took advantage of the alcohol and said, "Brothers, I'll treat you to this meal. I plan to run for class monitor. What do you think?" Li Liang's words were recognized by most people. Su Liangyu spoke first. "I support it. If Lao Li becomes the monitor, it will be much more convenient for us in the future." Others also expressed their support one after another. Only Zhao Wuyan said a few words to deal with it, but did not express his support. Chen Changliu saw all this and sighed in his heart. Wherever there are people, there are rivers and lakes. There are only a few people, and there have been dirty things just after the start of school. The first dinner party in the 311 dormitory was successful on the surface. Li Liang basically got the support of the dormitory with a meal. Chen Changliu had no opinion on Li Liang's behavior, nor did he think that Li Liang was mercenary. With his understanding of Li Liang, even if there was no election for monitor, he would have treated him to this meal. According to him, it was because he was the oldest in the dormitory and a local. After eating and drinking, the fat boy Su Liangyu suggested going to the internet cafe to play CS. Fang Jinglin worriedly said, "Is this okay? It's almost 9 o'clock now. It's not fun to play for an hour or so. What should I do if I have to check on my roommates at night?" Everyone was stunned. It seemed to be true. They didn't want to be written down on the first day of school. Chen Changliu looked at their expressions and patted Feng Jinglin's shoulder speechlessly and said, "We are not high school students now. The teachers are not so strict. Besides, the school has just started and the classes haven't started yet. Who will come to check on my roommates? Chen Changliu's words made the others suddenly enlightened, and then they became excited. Yes, I am a college student now. Isn't it 60 points for college students? Soon everyone found an internet cafe. Others went to play CS directly. Only Chen Changliu did not enter the game, but logged into Penguin. After a look, Zhao Lin and Pang Wei were both online. Thinking about it, Zhao Lin and Pang Wei would definitely buy laptops to play in the dormitory. After chatting with two best friends for a while and sharing some things about the start of school, Chen Changliu checked the market of D. It is now the evening trading period. D has risen to 2,504, and is now trading around this price. Hehe, I made money, and the total profit is almost 7,000, which seems good, but Chen Changliu frowned. In the eyes of others, this return on investment is already good, but in the eyes of Chen Changliu, it is indeed too slow. It took less than 7,000 yuan to make a profit in 3 days, which is not enough for his entrepreneurial plan. Is the market changing? Chen Changliu thought about it and still had no good solution, so he could only continue to wait. On the way back to school, Zhao Wuyan deliberately pulled Chen Changliu to the back and asked tentatively. Old Chen, what do you think of Li Liang's election as class monitor? Very good, just like Su Liangyu said, if old Li becomes class monitor, it will be a good thing for our dormitory. The two fell into silence. After a while, Zhao Wuyan continued, I also want to run for class monitor. Although Chen Changliu was mentally prepared, he was still surprised when Zhao Wuyan said it himself. Why didn't you bring it up when we were having dinner just now? Now you are also running for class monitor. Isn't this a challenge to Lao Li? I don't want to either, but my future path is to take the civil service exam after graduation. Being a class monitor and joining the student union will help me in the future, and I also want to have more contact with the counselor. That when Chen Changliu heard his last sentence, he was stunned. Oh my God, are you serious? Zhao Wuyan scratched his head embarrassedly and said, it's okay. I just think the counselor has my aesthetic taste. I like her style. Being a class monitor can get closer to her. Chen Changliu had nothing to say and patted his shoulder. I hope you are cautious or communicate with Lao Li in advance. I don't care how you compete, but I hope our dormitory is united. After all, we will live in the same dormitory for the next 4 years. Waking up at 6:30 the next morning, Chen Changliu continued his morning run and returned to the dormitory with breakfast for 6 people. No one in the dormitory got up. They slept too late last night. After Chen Changliu entered the room, he put breakfast on the table and knocked on the iron bed frame. Get up, I just saw the counselors coming to each dormitory. After saying that, he ran to take a shower. He didn't care about Li Liang's roar behind him. Chen Changliu, you are a street idiot, a man without humanity. Give me back my dream goddess. Damn, I was almost in the car, but you woke me up. The people who were startled awake by Chen Changliu cursed and got up in a panic. After all, the counselor was coming over, and they couldn't greet him in briefs. They wanted to, but they didn't dare. When Chen Changliu came out of the bathroom humming a tune, everyone had almost finished breakfast. Seeing Chen Changliu, everyone gave him a middle finger in unison, and then Li Liang asked. Third brother, you said the counselor is coming, why haven't we seen him for so long? Chen Changliu asked in confusion, really? Did I say our counselor is coming? Chen Changliu's words stunned everyone again, and the fat man Su Liangyu said, Third brother, you just said it yourself, you saw the counselor coming to each dormitory. Chen Changliu suddenly realized it at this time, and replied seriously, Hey, you are talking about this, I was talking about other people's counselors, but not our class counselor. Oh my God, can this be explained like this? The 5 people looked at each other, and then saw Chen Changliu who was holding back his laughter, and finally realized that they were fooled. As the 5 people surrounded him, Li Liang said. Damn, third brother, you are such a dishonest person, you are playing tricks on us, how do you think we should deal with you? Looking at the people who were ready to fight, Chen Changliu hurriedly called for a stop. Stop, 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 I was wrong, I shouldn't have lied to you, I just wanted to wake you up for breakfast, is that wrong? Well, Chen Changliu got it done with just one sentence, who made them feel guilty. One morning, the 311 dormitories went out collectively, according to Guofanwei's words, to familiarize themselves with the campus, but when they walked around, Chen Changliu knew that the eyes of these guys were all focused on the girls. Chen Changliu could only sigh, a bunch of animals in heat. Chapter 39 Backstab, Crack. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before 3 p.m., all 6 people in dormitory 311 arrived in the classroom. The people in the class have almost arrived, and they all sit wherever they want, but basically people from the same dormitory sit together. After all, they only know people from their own dormitory. After the 311 people sat down, Zhao Wuyan ran directly to talk to everyone. Not to mention, he was quite popular among girls because of his good looks. After all, people like good-looking people, especially women. It can be said that women are really not as sexy as men. A thin, handsome boy like Zhao Wuyan is the favorite type of these young girls who have just grown up. Seeing Zhao Wuyan chatting and laughing among the girls, the fat little Su Liangyu was filled with envy. Hey, brother Yan still has 2 brushes. I'll have to learn from him later. Li Liang chuckled, fat man, come on, if you don't lose weight, no matter how many menstruation sessions you have, it will be useless. You think you are the 3rd child. Chen Changliu choked to death when he was compared for no reason. Li Liang's teasing made several people laugh. When everyone arrived, Wu Ling also arrived and announced the start of the first class meeting of Business Administration Class 2. This class meeting is about 2 things. One is to introduce ourselves so that everyone can get to know each other, and the other is to select class cadres. Wu Ling asked everyone to introduce themselves. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhao Wuyan was the first to step on the stage amidst the surprised looks of several other people. Chen Changliu also looked at Li Liang one more time and said, hey, you are 1 step behind again and you don't know it. Hello everyone, my name is Zhao Wuyan, from Guangcheng. I like music. In short, Zhao Wuyan just introduced himself eloquently, but it was hard to tell that this guy was very eloquent. With Zhao Wuyan taking the lead, the self-introduction was much smoother. There are still a few good girls in the class who can score 80 points, but Chen Changliu is not interested. After all, there is Du Zhiqiu there, which is too far behind, but he was not interested. But the other 5 people in the dormitory were very interested, especially when a quiet girl named Bai Jing came on stage. These beasts' eyes widened. Bai Jing is definitely the beauty of the class. This is my type. All 5 people in the dormitory heard Zhao Wuyan's words, and Chen Changliu looked at him speechlessly. 4th child, I didn't expect that you are still a scumbag. Yesterday you said you liked the counselor, and now you say Bai Jing is your type. Are you in heat? No wonder you are so thin. It is definitely because you masturbate too much and cannot keep up with your nutrition. Chen Changliu's words almost made the others laugh out loud. Zhao Wuyan looked at Chen Changliu speechlessly. Brother Chen, why do you talk so much, and you keep saying the same thing? This is called fraternity, do you understand? This is not called a scumbag. I don't understand. You must be a philandering scumbag anyway. If you don't believe me, ask someone else. Seeing the other people nodding, Zhao Wuyan stopped talking. He couldn't explain it. Chen Changliu's introduction was very simple, including his name, gender, and his preference for women, and then he stepped down while everyone was in a state of confusion. I bet, the 3rd one introduced himself the most sluttishly. Awesome. After Li Liang finished speaking, he applauded and whistled at the same time. The eyes of more girls looking at Chen Changliu also changed. Why didn't they notice such a handsome boy just now and he was so tall? In fact, the girls didn't notice him because everyone in Chen Changliu's dormitory was sitting in the last corner, and he was also sitting in the farthest corner. Several people in the same dormitory blocked their view, so they didn't notice it. Zhao Wuyan looked at the girls looking at Chen Changliu and felt a little unhappy. He was the first one on stage just now. Why didn't these girls look at me like this? Wu Ling actually noticed Chen Changliu yesterday. She noticed him because he was handsome, but she found that Chen Changliu didn't talk much and thought he was more introverted, but the self-introduction just now completely overturned this impression. No matter how you look at it, you don't look like an introvert, but a coquettish type. After almost an hour of self-introduction, Wu Ling walked onto the stage again. Okay, let me give you a preliminary self-introduction today. I hope everyone can learn and make progress together in the next 4 years. Okay, let's start running for class cadres. Students who are willing to run for office will go on stage to give a speech, and then the students will vote for them. I hope everyone will be careful when voting. Okay, let's get started. Wu Ling had just finished speaking, and while Li Liang was still thinking about when to go up, Zhao Wuyan stood up directly and walked directly onto the stage without looking at the faces of everyone in the dormitory. This immediately confused Li Liang and others. Li Liang frowned and said, "Which class cadre is Zhao Wuyan running for? Why didn't you tell him last night? Third brother should be running for other class cadres. If you two are class cadres, our dormitory will be comfortable from now on." Su Liangyu, the little fat guy, is still dreaming, Chen Changliu sighed in his heart. It seems that Zhao Wuyan still hasn't communicated with Lao Li. Alas, Zhao Wuyan on the stage began to speak. "Hello everyone, I am running for class president. My advantage is, if you elect me to be class president, then from now on I will." When Zhao Wuyan said he wanted to run for squad leader, the people in dormitory 311 looked a little unnatural. Gosh, this is a backstab. Li Liang's face looked ugly at first, but slowly returned to normal. Su Liangyu was a little indignant. "Brother Yan, what's wrong with you? Yesterday, you said you would support Brother Liang. Now you're running for class monitor yourself. It's a bit too unkind." The other people's eyes looking at Zhao Wuyan can't be said to be hateful, but they can only say that they have lost their initial enthusiasm. After all, no one likes to have a sixth brother around them, even Guo Fanwei couldn't stand it. Forget it, anyone can run for class leader. It's nothing. It's his freedom. In the end, Li Liang adjusted his mentality and changed the topic. No one wanted to talk anymore. After Zhao Wuyan stepped down, he said to Li Liang, "Brother Liang, I suddenly want to run for class monitor. I want to take the civil service exam in the future." Li Liang just said and nodded. In the end, the election results came out, and neither Li Liang nor Zhao Wuyan became class monitor. Bai Jing, the most beautiful girl in business administration class 2, was successfully elected as class monitor. Other class leaders were also selected, and Zhao Wuyan became the living committee member. The first class meeting was a success in the eyes of others, but it left a rift within dormitory 311. Chapter 40, Changing Strategy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although Chen Changliu had been mentally prepared for the conflict in the dormitory on the second day of school, he was still speechless. Why bother? Neither of them won the election for class monitor, but instead made their relationship awkward. Alas! Chen Changliu sighed. There are still 4 years to go. He doesn't know how many disgusting things there will be. This is why he has to rent a house outside the school. There was nothing to do in the next 2 days. Chen Changliu occasionally paid attention to the market of soybean futures. The price of soybean has been fluctuating around 2,500 in the past few days, which makes Chen Changliu a little more worried. He and Du Jiqiu have phone calls every day. She always misses Chen Changliu for a long time. She promised to accompany her to buy a computer, and so on. Only with Chen Changliu's guarantee did she comfort her. Kumeng has not appeared since the canteen that day, and there has been no phone or text message contact. Chen Changliu has a complicated feeling about her. She is a fairy who can make him react anytime and anywhere, but Chen Changliu knows that fairy is not something he can provoke now. On September 8, the military training of the University of Finance and Economics officially began. 1, 2, 1. The heat wave on the playground was overwhelming, and the temperature of 36 degrees made the slogans of the freshmen like a withered man, weak and powerless. The devil instructor finally let Chen Changliu and others rest when everyone was about to bear it. Chen Changliu was fine, after all, he had done farm work, but the fat guy Su Liangyi was unlucky, and the camouflage uniform on his body could be wrung out of water. He unbuttoned the top 2 buttons of the camouflage uniform, and then kept grabbing the collar and pumping it back and forth, so that he could feel cooler, cursing. The instructor is too ruthless, without any human touch, no wonder he has no girlfriend. Even more unbearable was Guo Fanwei. This guy was spoiled since he was a child, and this military training could be said to have almost peeled off a layer of skin from him. No, I'm going to die here if I continue like this. I thought I could be free and easy in college, but I didn't know it would cost me half my life. Except Chen Changliu and Fang Jinglin, no one in the 311 dormitory did not complain, but soon, Zhao Wuyan got up and ran to the female classmates. Su Liangyu was jealous, but he didn't have the courage to join in the fun. He said sourly, "Old Zhao is not doing a good job as the life committee member. He just ran to the girls. Do you think this guy is abusing his power for personal gain?" Li Liang grinned and teased, "Fatty, why do I smell sourness? Are you in love? Otherwise, you can join in the fun." "Boss, you are talking as if you are not in love. Do you have a girlfriend? You usually talk a lot in the dormitory, but you are still a virgin. You are rich in theoretical knowledge, but you have no practical ability." The fat man's counterattack made others laugh, and then Li Liang and Su Liangyu actually had the strength to chase. Chen Changliu finally became an obstacle in their pursuit. "Hey, are you two so strong? Don't get tired later." Chen Changliu's words finally stopped the two of them. "Yes, the military training is not over yet." Su Liangyu sat next to Chen Changliu and asked, "Brother Lu, do you have a girlfriend?" "Yes." "Is she pretty?" "Pretty. As pretty as Beijing." "Well, how should I put it? No girl in our class can see her taillights." "Sigh, Brother Lu, although you are handsome, we can't brag like this. What kind of girl can make Beijing not see her taillights?" Su Liangyu obviously didn't believe it. Li Liang curled his lips. "Another person who has never seen the world." Chen Changliu didn't say anything, but Fang Jinglin said. "What Brother Lu said is true. Brother Liang and I have seen her in the cafeteria. She is really beautiful." Su Liangyu heard Fang Jinglin, who spoke the least in the dormitory, come out to testify and pull out the boss Li Liang. It seems that it should be true. He got up and walked directly behind Chen Changliu, massaging his shoulders while saying in a mean way, "Brother, you are the only one who is single in the dormitory, can you bear it? Why don't you have a social gathering with my sister-in-law's roommates one day? People are divided into groups, and my sister-in-law's roommates must be pretty." Before anyone else spoke, Zhao Wuyan, who had just returned from the crowd of girls, happened to hear their conversation and laughed. "Fatty, you are so ashamed to say that people are divided into groups. Look at the comparison between your body shape and ours. Do you know that you have raised the average weight of our dormitory?" Su Liangyu was embarrassed by Zhao Wuyan's words. Just when he was about to fight back, Li Liangxian couldn't stand it and said sarcastically, "I think fat people are good. What's good about a body of skinny people? Look, just like you, you spend all day among female classmates, but you haven't found a girlfriend." Chen Changliu was speechless. Since the election of class leaders, these two people have always spoken in a sarcastic tone. The main thing is that Zhao Wuyan feels good about himself and speaks harshly, which Li Liang cannot stand. Then the originally good atmosphere of the chat quickly became awkward. Fortunately, the whistle for assembly sounded, and everyone lost the desire to argue. After all, the sun is their public enemy. Chen Changliu would take the initiative to mediate the conflict between them at the beginning, but gradually he lost the mood. During the military training, Chen Changliu took the time to look at the market of soybeans and the futures market, and finally it was not hovering around 2,500 points. On the 12th, it rose directly by 53 points and closed at 2,593 that day. After the market closed over the weekend, it rose another 50 points on the 15th, closing at 2,643 in the afternoon. That night, Chen Changliu, who was playing cards in the dormitory, received a call from Kumeng. He handed the cards in his hand to Su Liangyu and then went to the balcony to answer the call. "Senior sister, why are you free to call me today? I won't talk nonsense to you. Have you paid attention to the market price of DE in the past 2 days? I suggest you sell and close your position immediately. You have made a lot of profits now. Don't be too greedy. It has been rising for so long. There are many people who analyze and need to adjust. Hearing Kumeng's words, Chen Changliu asked, I looked at it yesterday, but I didn't look at it today. How much is it now? Kumeng was almost pissed to death by Chen Changliu's words. He had 60 futures hands, but this bastard didn't pay attention to them. Although it was inconvenient to operate in school, it was still possible to know the price trend. I'm convinced. Do you have too much money and no place to spend it? You don't care much if you throw it into the futures market. If you hadn't been lucky and happened to catch this wave of good news, you wouldn't have spent more than 100,000 yuan now. You know how much is left. Okay, thank you, senior, for your concern. I'll take leave tomorrow and go out and have a look. I think it can go up. Is there anything wrong with holding it? Kumeng was speechless, but after thinking about it, she could only analyze it from another angle to Chen Changliu. If you think it can still rise tomorrow, shouldn't you sell your position to close your position? That way you can buy more contracts. In itself, this was just Kumeng's words to ask Chen Changliu to sell and close his position, but to Chen Changliu, it was like a bolt of lightning, directly splitting his original thoughts. Yes, I got into a corner. I always thought that since I had military training and no time, I could earn a lot by holding on to it, but in fact I missed a lot. Thank you, senior sister. I understand. I'll treat you to dinner another day. After saying that, I hung up the phone immediately, and then I didn't play any cards, so I left the dormitory and walked out of the school. It was just 9 o'clock and the night market had just opened, so there was still time. He wants to change his strategy.